Yo, welcome back to another Brain Dead. In this one, I just had a couple thoughts when I was driving, and just want to talk about, I guess. I was listening to Tim Welch, who is Sean O'Malley, UFC fighters coach. He has like his own podcast, and I forget who he was talking to, but just like another MMA fighter, and they were talking about just like weight cutting and just after going through like periods of almost like no eating and just like starving yourself and uh probably like all the dehydration, just the whole process in general. Then after you almost like get an eating disorder, where you like just will pound down like as much food as you possibly can, whatever's in front of you is going inside, and like to where it like starts feeling unhealthy or like you might die just because you're like too stuffed. But I don't know. I guess the thought I had about it is I don't know why that would be an eating disorder. That just seems like the most natural thing that you should do in that circumstance. Like, think about our ancestors if they went a week without finding food. Like, if you find some dead thing that, or like a field of berries that you can like scarf down, like, yeah, get as many of them as you can in that moment. Like, because you don't know when you're gonna have a chance again. So that's why I thought like I don't think that should be referred to as eating disorder. That's probably just like your brain behaving in the most natural way it's supposed to behave. Like all our behaviors are going to be linked to what was like advantageous for our ancestors in the past. And there's a good quote from Nietzsche that I'm not gonna remember the quote, but he was basically saying like, oh, it was when he was talking about our morals and like basically your morals is what was the most advantageous or most successful way of being for your ancestors. So like we think certain behaviors are good and bad, and basically that was rooted in what was like the winning strategy for like all of your ancestors combined. Like, um, and that might not be like exact representation. He had like an idea that there was like the slave and master morals. Like some people have been in a way like bred to own people, and some people have been bred to like almost be owned. And like your or maybe that's been both of those possibilities can be in all of us. I don't know, but that's like what Nietzsche was starting to go down, which I don't know probably more depth than that. But yeah, I just think that that shouldn't be viewed as an eating disorder, but just how your brain is most naturally going to behave. And like think of it, an anaconda, like it eats like a whole deer in a day. Like it'll just have this big lump in the middle of it, and like that just has to be what we're designed to do. So yeah, I guess to not be that way, you just have to like probably have like a reliable um, nutrition source that's just like stable and like trickles, so your body never really has to feel like it has to like over consume. It just like consumes what it feels like it needs. But um, yeah, I don't know. Those are just the thoughts I had. Cool podcast though. I recommend it. I just like the kind of almost like guy talker. Um, Also, they talk about TMS, which is pretty relatable. Um, yeah, shit. Well, I guess that's the thought. So, uh, check out Substack. I have a couple writings on there, and I also made audiobook versions, and those are on YouTube. One of the ones I write about is kind of like an economic argument, as I think the economy is getting better, when basically the whole world's thing is getting worse. So I'm contrarian a little bit, but I know I'm saying what I think. And so yeah, that's one. I just explained my reasoning, but then the other one is Twitter being like could potentially be becoming a hive mind. Um, like or at least the infrastructure or substrate for hive minds to exist on. Like it would be like the webbing, or like if our brain matter is kind of like the substrate for our neural network and the connections of neurons or whatever, Twitter could be that for like a cybernetic type of brain. And I think largely hive minds or political parties are hive minds, but hive minds can be a bunch of different things. But it's just like a shared network of like thought process, and to a large extent, like that happens on the left and the right. Like both of them will start thinking similar things and like thinking together in a way. And can that be viewed as its own kind of like thinking unit or entity? But anyways, I think a new one's kind of on the rise or emerging, and I think it's kind of like forming around Elon Musk. And yeah, there's just like a new network or center of mass of like how to think together. And yeah, Elon Musk is all largely just kind of becoming his own like camp and political association in a way. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool that we might be on the dawn of like a new political party forming. Like we've lived in just like a 2-party system for so freaking long, and so maybe we're coming up on a 3-party era, and some chaotic, crazy stuff can happen. Like the book, The 3-Body Problem. Like you can like predict like a orbiting sun system of like 2 suns like really well, but then you add in a third and everything gets chaotic and crazy and like beyond computable like prediction ability. So maybe we're getting a third body into this kind of like orbiting system, and it's just gonna throw everything off and be crazy as fuck. I don't know. Another thought I had, I was on the treadmill, or I've been observing it the last like handful of times I've been on the treadmill. I think looking through the top of your eyes and even like pointing your tongue a certain way like changes your like mindset. Like sometimes I'll just be like desperate and just wanting to stop and like fuck this, but then like can I just have like a little brain switch if I just like look down, like all right, like I don't know, it's just like a switch of alertness or focus, and I usually have like almost like a pretend competitor in my brain. I'm like kind of like trying to one up, or like I'm like competing a little bit with some imaginary thing I don't know, thinking of. And like if I am kind of in a zone of like all right, I'm over this, I just want to stop, my body just wants to rest and be lazy and not have to work hard anymore, then if I just like I don't know how to explain it, but you like all right, put your head down and look up and like, all right, motherfucker, let's fucking do this. And the same thing happens so I'll do it both probably at the same time, because it's like what I guess my body does when I'm in that mindset. But I don't know if that gets me to it, so maybe that's useful for other people to like I don't know if you can hack to get right to that mode, because that's like when you're gonna be like the most competitive and like probably kick ass at whatever you're doing, is when you get to that. And I guess for me, I've kind of figured out I can get to it pretty reliably by head down, look at through the top of your eyes, and a lot of times I put my like tongue right there at the corner of my mouth, and I don't know why I do that, but that's like if I'm playing a sport or something like that and like time to get serious, or playing a video game, that's what I do, and I get way better, and I'm really competitive in that kind of state. So I don't know, maybe that's just a me thing, or maybe it can happen in other people too, but just give it a go and see if that also happens. Like I wonder if that would be like a little hack for a fighter to have, just like kind of have to have like another, you can turn the dial to 11 or something. If that's your 11, that's your extra notch when you need it. But okay, I guess I'll end it there. Thanks for listening. Check out the Substack, and you can also listen to it on YouTube. I made an audiobook version, and I'll kind of like trickle out little teasers of it here and there, I guess. Hopefully people listen to it, and I'll write some other cool ones, I think. I got some topics in mind that just like, I don't know, cool stuff that my brain thinks of that I don't think anyone else is really writing about, so I'll put it down. At least I'll try to. But All right, peace.